Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief Show. Today, we've got some exciting stories lined up for you. First up, Chinese hotel chain H World Group is making its debut in Thailand with the opening of the 475-room Monty Inn Hotel Surawong, Bangkok. This marks a significant step in their international expansion plans, which were delayed due to the pandemic. Next, we delve into the diplomatic legacy that outgoing Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong has left for his successor, Lawrence Wong. Lee's tenure saw strengthened ties between Singapore and China, and now Wong faces the challenge of navigating these relationships amid global tensions. Lastly, we discuss the urgent need for Hong Kong to decarbonize its buildings. With over 60% of the city's carbon emissions coming from buildings, experts are calling for mandatory energy labels and tax incentives to promote energy efficiency. Please stay tuned for the detailed coverage of these stories. Nikkei Asia. H World Group, a prominent Chinese hotel operator with over 9,000 hotels in China, is expanding its reach into Southeast Asia, beginning with Thailand. The company is set to open the fully renovated Monty Inn Hotel Surawong, Bangkok, a 475-room luxury establishment under the Steigenberger brand, marking its first foray into the Thai market. Additionally, H World is developing a Max brand hotel in Pattaya, featuring 108 villas, expected to open by the end of 2025. This move comes after the acquisition of Deutsche Hospitality in 2019, which H World rebranded as H World International. Despite the pandemic delaying their international expansion, H World is now resuming its efforts, focusing on Southeast Asia due to its popularity among Chinese tourists. The company aims to leverage its advanced technology, including a proprietary reservation system and a customer management platform, to streamline operations and enhance efficiency. H World's loyalty program, boasting over 200 million members, is also a significant asset in its global expansion strategy. South China Morning Post. As Lawrence Wong steps into the role of Singapore's Prime Minister, he inherits a complex yet robust relationship with China, meticulously maintained by his predecessor, Lee Hsien Loong. Lee's tenure saw Singapore navigating diplomatic waters with two different Chinese administrations, from Hu Jintao's cautious approach to Xi Jinping's ambitious foreign policy. Significant platforms like the Joint Council for Bilateral Cooperation and the Singapore-China Forum on Leadership were established under Lee, fostering strong bilateral ties. Despite occasional hiccups, such as Lee's controversial visit to Taiwan in 2004 and tensions over the South China Sea, Singapore has managed to maintain a balanced relationship with both China and the United States. Under Lee, Singapore became China's largest foreign direct investor, and bilateral projects flourished. Wong now faces the challenge of navigating this intricate relationship amid potential risks like economic slowdowns in China and geopolitical tensions, while also seizing new opportunities to strengthen ties further. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong faces a pressing need to decarbonize its buildings to meet international climate commitments. Despite adopting various environmental policies in line with global standards, the city lags in building energy efficiency. Buildings account for over 60% of Hong Kong's carbon emissions, yet the city targets net zero emissions for new buildings only by 2050, with no clear timeline for existing structures. A mandatory energy label for buildings, similar to the EU's Energy Performance Certificate system, is crucial for tracking and improving energy efficiency. This label could drive market changes, incentivize retrofitting, and support policies like green leases and tax incentives. Additionally, Hong Kong's mandatory energy labeling scheme for appliances needs updating to cover more products and close existing loopholes. Addressing carbon emissions from construction, which are likely higher in Hong Kong due to rapid building rates, is also essential. By combining information, incentives, and regulation, Hong Kong can transform its building sector to meet climate goals. CNN, Tsai Ing-wen, Taiwan's first female president, emerged as an unexpected leader who transformed the island's geopolitical stance. Initially aspiring to be an archaeologist due to her introverted nature, Tsai instead found herself navigating Taiwan through turbulent waters. Taking office in 2016, she inherited a stagnant economy, a weakened military, and public discontent over her predecessor's pro-China policies. Over her 8-year tenure, Tsai fortified Taiwan's international profile, strengthened ties with the United States, and implemented defense reforms, all while fostering a distinct Taiwanese identity. Despite criticisms for straining cross-strait relations, Tsai's administration championed LGBTQ rights and democracy, contrasting sharply with China's authoritarian regime under Xi Jinping. Leaving office with a net positive approval rating, Tsai's legacy is one of resilience and international recognition, even as Taiwan faces the looming threat of Chinese aggression. South China Morning Post: the number of mainland Chinese students with one-way permits joining Hong Kong schools surged last year, reflecting the post-pandemic reopening of borders. Official statistics show a 62% increase in these students, with 6,831 joining from October 2022 to September 2023. This influx, while significant, only marginally alleviates the problem of a declining student population in Hong Kong. These students, often from wealthier families, are selective about schools but face challenges with English proficiency. Despite the increase, the overall decline in the school-aged population continues to outpace the arrival of new students. The Education Bureau has implemented support programs for these newcomers, yet the long-term impact on Hong Kong's educational landscape remains uncertain. South China Morning Post: Hong Kong triathlete Jasoning Tai Long is in a tight race for the last Olympic spot for Paris, competing against Kazakhstan's Ayan Bisanbayev. Ng faced a setback after failing to finish the Asia Cup event in Lianyungang, China, while Bisanbayev came close to the podium. The final decision will hinge on the upcoming race in Kazakhstan, where Bisanbayev must secure a podium finish to overtaking Hong Kong's head coach, Andrew Wright, emphasized the importance of teamwork and strategy in the upcoming race, highlighting the need for Ng to finish as high as possible. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's Bailey Brown triumphed in the women's event, showcasing the team's potential despite the intense pressure. South China Morning Post: Enrique de Sena Fernandez, a Macanese writer-lawyer, masterfully captured the essence of 1930s Macau through his novels and short stories, painting a nostalgic picture of a bygone era. Born into a family with deep roots in Macau, Fernandez's works are imbued with the cultural and social nuances of the interwar years. His writing vividly describes the Praia Grande, with its junks and Lorcha crews, and the daily struggles of the city's inhabitants, such as the water sellers and muit sai, young girls sold into servitude. Fernandez's stories, like The Bewitching Braid, not only evoke the sights and sounds of old Macau but also explore the intersections between the Macanese, Portuguese settlers, and the Chinese population. His works highlight a more liberal and inclusive colonial bourgeoisie, perhaps idealized, reflecting his saudades for a simpler, more harmonious past. Nikkei Asia: Hong Kong's boy band Mirror has become a symbol of the city's cultural identity amidst increasing integration with mainland China. Formed in 2018, the 12-member group has revitalized Cantopop, connecting deeply with local fans through their relatable charm and active engagement. Celebrations like Kung Tu's birthday in Causeway Bay illustrate their immense popularity, drawing fans of all ages. Mirror's rise came at a time when Hong Kong's entertainment industry was in need of local stars, following the 2019 protests and Beijing's subsequent tightening grip on the city. While the band avoids political entanglements, their existence and success are seen as a form of cultural resistance. Mirror's focus remains on Cantopop and global outreach, avoiding extensive mainland engagements to maintain their local fan base's loyalty. Their influence extends beyond music, driving significant advertising revenue and brand endorsements, showcasing the potent blend of local pride and commercial success. Bloomberg: As the US-China trade tensions escalate, President Joe Biden's new tariffs target critical sectors like batteries, chips, solar cells, and minerals, impacting some of the world's fastest-growing industries. These measures, part of a broader strategy to appear tough on China ahead of the elections, add to existing tariffs on steel, aluminum, and electric vehicles. The tariffs, though small relative to total bilateral trade, affect key growth areas and raise concerns about further escalations. The European Union, which consumes a significant portion of China's exports in these sectors, faces a bigger threat from potential retaliatory tariffs. The new tariffs have varying impacts. U.S. companies like Tesla and Rivian see minimal benefit, while Chinese firms like BYD and solar producers face pressure. However, some sectors, like Chinese battery materials and semiconductors, may see limited impact due to their production strategies. The tariffs also provide opportunities for other global players, such as Malaysia's Top Glove Corporation, to capitalize on this shifting trade dynamics. South China Morning Post. As the tide rises on a winter's day in Hong Kong's Maipa wetlands, thousands of waterbirds gather on the dwindling mudflats, creating a cacophony of calls and wing beats. This bird paradise, however, faces numerous threats, primarily from human activities. Despite being a protected area, the wetlands are under constant pressure from development projects like the San Tin Technopole, which threatens to destroy significant fish pond areas. Past conservation efforts, led by figures like British conservationist Peter Scott and organizations such as WWF Hong Kong, have helped establish Maipa as a nature reserve and Ramsar site. Yet, ongoing challenges, including pollution, reclamation, and mismanagement, continue to jeopardize this crucial habitat. The fluctuating bird populations, particularly the critically endangered black-faced spoonbill, highlight the delicate balance needed to maintain these wetlands. With 2024 poised to be a pivotal year for Deep Bay, the future of Maipa hangs in the balance, dependent on robust conservation measures and community support. The Sydney Morning Herald, posing with cricket legend Steve Waugh at the Sydney Cricket Ground, Paul Dwyer and Ajit Wijsing promoted a luxury beachfront development in Balapidia, Sri Lanka, promising investors a slice of paradise. However, 7 years later, the project lies in ruins, with concrete shells standing as a testament to a bitter fallout between the two men. Investors from around the world, who collectively invested over $20 million, are now embroiled in legal battles to reclaim their money. Allegations of misused funds and no-flight orders have further complicated the situation. Dwyer, who envisioned the project while living in Sri Lanka, blames Wijsing for the financial troubles, while Wijsing remains silent. The stalled development has left investors like David Gill and Gregory Katzberg frustrated and anxious, as they seek justice and the return of their investments. Despite the turmoil, Dwyer remains hopeful, believing he can salvage the project with new funding, though the path ahead is fraught with legal and financial hurdles. South China Morning Post. After 2000, Hong Kong directors flocked to mainland China to take advantage of co-production opportunities, resulting in large-scale epics like John Woo's Red Cliff and Peter Chan's The Warlords. Among these, Daniel Lee's Three Kingdoms, Resurrection of the Dragon and Gordon Chan's God of War stand out for their unique takes on historical narratives. Lee's film focuses on General Zhao Zilong, portrayed by Andy Lau, and introduces new characters like Sammo Hung's Luo Pingyan, blending personal drama with grand battle scenes. Maggie Q's role as the female General Chao Ying adds a nuanced touch to the film. Meanwhile, Chan's God of War showcases Vincent Zhao as General Qi Jiguang, defending the Zhejiang coastline from Japanese pirates. The film's realistic battle scenes and Zhao's martial arts prowess, especially in a pole fight with Sammo Hung, highlight Chan's directorial strengths. Both films reflect the director's ability to balance historical accuracy with engaging storytelling, contributing to the rich tapestry of Hong Kong cinema. Bloomberg reports that a series of key inflation data releases across the group of G7 countries is setting the stage for pivotal June interest rate decisions by central banks. Following the US's cooler-than-expected consumer price growth, the UK, Canada, and Japan are set to publish April figures likely showing similar trends. Canada will kick things off, with traders reducing bets on a rate cut amid recent strong job data, though easing price pressures could sway decisions. The UK is expected to report a significant drop in consumer price growth, potentially aligning with the Bank of England's target. The European Central Bank will release crucial wage numbers, which may support a cautious approach towards rate cuts. Japan's data is anticipated to show a slight weakening in consumer price growth, yet still above the 2% target, possibly prompting a rate hike. These developments coincide with a G7 finance ministers meeting in Italy, where discussions will also focus on diverging economic outlooks across the Atlantic, with Europe and Canada leaning towards cuts, while the US maintains a higher-for-longer stance. In another report from the South China Morning Post, tensions between Hong Kong taxi drivers and Uber have flared up, with cabbies conducting undercover operations to report illegal ride-hailing services. Taxi drivers, posing as Uber passengers, have been calling the police on Uber drivers at designated locations, leading to a series of reported cases. This conflict arises amidst government proposals for stricter penalties on unlicensed drivers and a recent fare increase for taxis. Despite legal ambiguities, Uber remains popular in Hong Kong due to its convenience and better service compared to traditional taxis. The government has attempted to address these issues by proposing premium taxi services and cracking down on overcharging. However, taxi drivers continue to express frustration, especially as they struggle to compete with Uber and recover from the pandemic. The situation mirrors challenges faced in other jurisdictions, where regulatory frameworks have been implemented to balance the interests of ride-hailing services and traditional taxi industries. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.